And I would imagine he'll spin it off either to a giant healthcare company or he'll take it public and he'll hit the cash register. Since he knows nothing about it, they're not going to want him to stay. And again, you don't want to believe that it's hard for you to conceive of that. How can somebody that knows absolutely nothing, zero? Because remember, absence of evidence is evidence of absence.
Yeah. In that part of the world, like in this example in Hungary, where would you take it public though? I mean, like.
No, the Hungarians have a stock exchange. You wouldn't take it there. You take it probably in Munich on the German exchange. And but he's going to add other assets. I would imagine he's going to go from there to the other, Romania, Lithuania, Estonia. There's a whole bunch of them. And of course, now he's got giant momentum. He owns the biggest one.
Must have been something special about it because a hospital company that size, surely they must have tried to buy it previously.
You say, you're wrong, Walter. There's nothing special. You put together a truly world-class team. They will bring you assets because they believe, rightly or wrongly, that you can get the money. It's just like Josh said the first or second day. People bring him deals now because he knows how to get the finance. And this was the third deal they tried, and the second deal they didn't believe. And like he said, he wasn't good enough. The team, even with a world-class team, they haven't gelled yet. And I'm sure I say this, it's not because he ever told me this. There was a sense of desperation. He's into the deal that by that time a year and 3 months. And so the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The harder you press, firm, friendly but firm. And most of you guys that have not been involved in sales don't know how to do that. Most of you guys that have been involved in sales, you get a salary plus commission. That's not sales to me. Sales is 100% commission. Don't eat, no sales. Children starve, no sales. Wife leaves you, no sales. That's sales. Yeah.
If he had followed the steps, he would have known what the parameters were. But I guess he's not acting the way he should have. Is that what it was? For the second deal?
No, he just, after 7 months in the first deal, and he said he wasted his time, right? It fell to shit. So subconsciously, everybody's second, guessing themselves. It's like when a professional athlete, a tennis player, baseball team, they have a streak of losses. They start to not believe in themselves. And of course, I'm Mr. Friendly. You fucking cunt! What are you, a man or a fucking mouse? Remind them. Your dad should have slapped the shit out of you, Walter, when you were growing up. Everybody in this room should have had there's a great scene in the movie Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman. And it's about a Louisiana chain gang. And the warden of the chain gang is standing up on a hill with 2 armed guards with guns, and the one armed guard who was the real bad guy had these sunglasses. And Paul Newman, who was a smart ass, he got caught. He caught it. I forget what he did. He did something. And he says, "What we have here," this is the warden standing up on the hill to Paul Newman. He said, "What we have here is a lack of communication." Bam! Hits him with a 2x4 in the side of the fucking head, knocks him down this hill. Okay? What we have here is a lack of communication. Without selling, you can't make a sale unless you ask for the sale. What did he say the first words out of his mouth? Toastmaster. Most of you aren't going to join Toastmaster. Not just you. I mean, I'm not making this shit up. Most of you couldn't give a blowjob away to a fucking sailor on a fucking deserted island. Yet you won't take Toastmaster. Everybody, and Dr. Joe said, Toastmaster, not as an observer, right? He said as a participant. You're all brain dead. Don't you listen? Because you haven't had to learn how to convey your message. And it's not just conveying your message, you're selling yourself in the deal. The third one, they sucked up their pantyhose and they went out there and they convinced the guy. Actually, there was more than one owner, but it's more complicated than that. But anyway, they convinced the guy. Now he's on the front page of fucking magazines. So he's gone from the shit house to the penthouse in 18 months. And rich. It's not a bad scenario, actually. And they tell me he's smoother than baby shit now in his native language. Not how you heard him just now. But I'm happy as when I see it's the infants crawling and then walking and then running and it happens and it's the thing that keeps me in this game, because it's the same questions, 52 weeks a year. Do I really have to call him? Do I have to go meet him? Gee. Do I have to give away equity? Gee. When can I get my first money out of the deal? Gee. Gets old. And if I didn't have thick skin and a bad memory, which I don't have a bad memory, the secret to good old age is a bad memory and thick skin. But now we showed you just about every kind of example. And thankfully he was able to do it. This is the only time he could because he was busy with his acquisition, wasn't he, DJ? Yeah. And the biggest error that you kids make is one, especially when you make a big behemoth deal, you sit back and just sit back on your laurels, and that's when you got to push the hardest. And he is. And so when he told me, I said, okay, now what are you going to do now? The ink's dry. What are you going to do now? The new thing is when his chairman's acting as CEO. That's relatively new because they haven't been able to find a CEO. What's the takeaway? We all look fucking stunned, but
Just do it.
Yeah, well, that's the takeaway on all of them. Just do it.
Seems cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, well, now. 5 months ago, he looked like a whore in church. He looked like a cat on a hot tin roof. And now the hardest thing for him is to now keep pushing, and then after he gets these 4 deals done, and then when you're the biggest, well, he's already the biggest there. I remember when Rick Scott made his first 5 or 6 hospitals, to keep pushing, because when you have a goal to be the biggest healthcare company in the world, that sounds nice coming out your mouth. It looks good on paper. But then, when your first billion and 2 billion and 7 billion, as with Rick, it's hard. You get up in the morning, you're running out of acquisition candidates, you had 400 hospitals, what the fuck? Now what? And then Congress investigates them and the Department of Justice, and so but you just got to keep pushing. He's going to do fine. He's going to do fine. Anything else about him? Other than he said follow the steps. And I think, I'm positive he said, and I know it's easy to follow the steps, and that's what everybody says, but it is. There is no secret sauce, there are no tips other than following the steps. And you look all surprised when he said, how did you find your chairman? LinkedIn.
Use the template.
Yeah. Use the template. Thank you, Walter. Use the templates, the ones that Dan gave you. Do you have was there stuff in your room? Have you been back to your room?
Yeah.
Is the gigafuck and the stuff there? Yeah. I hope they changed a couple. You didn't get it yet? Okay. I hope that Cat went back and changed a couple of them so they're short. They don't have the stuff so they can come back. And not you. It's too late. You lost it. Oh, by the way, if you lose your hard drive, that's the only one you ever get. While you're here, you lose it. Don't ask Kim, because Kim has instructions not to give you one. That's serious. If you lose it when you're on the train, that's tough shit. Okay? No mercy fucks if you lose it. Walter, where's yours?
I've not been back yet.
Oh, Cat, good. You still got time, Cat.
Brian, it's Monday.
I don't know. Sure.
But, yeah, so you should have your book and your hard drive. But, I mean, that's obviously a great success story. And it is the best deal I've seen in 20 years. I haven't seen a deal that good since Lucinda Burke back in the middle 90s. And she had a couple of, I don't like to call them angels, but people that put up money. And normally, it's like the person that, the big hitter that wanted to do a joint venture with Josh just because he had seen Josh's progress and he wanted to be part of the deal. He sold the board, the chairman, and then that investor because he believed that that was going to be part of a huge healthcare organization someday, and that the guy that put up the money was going to be part of it. There's no other reason. And when I say sell hard, I don't mean hard like you're selling a used car, but when you sell well and you practiced, and he said by his own admission, he didn't have a script that I gave him to say these things, and just about everybody is about 80 to 85, 90%, they say the same thing. And when they were sitting here listening to the guys, the generation before, they said, they look like deer in the headlights, just like you. It can't be that easy. It just can't. Well, it is, if you follow the steps. It's a son of a bitch, if not. Any comments, questions? Yes, sir.
So with the small market like how he had, did he have to do anything special to kind of keep that pipeline going?
Well, I don't know. He didn't start at the biggest to begin with, but he started at one of the big ones. And one of the things he commented that normally doesn't happen is because there's only 10 good M&A lawyers in the country. So if you fuck the first 2 or 3 because you don't go to small lawyers, because you don't practice like I tell you, then by the time you get to the big guys, they've already know that you're persona non grata before you get there. So, but he started small, and the firms that he's got, Baker McKenzie and PwC, are world class. I mean, you can't get any better than that. And yet people tell me, oh, well, you can't do it on a delayed fee basis. And that's not true. You can. If you follow the steps and you do it right. Okay, YouTube, thank you.